Hey guys, it's Wednesday again. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Yeah, it's Wednesday. My name is Stacy Pryce, and welcome to Price on Purpose, where we discuss all the things that you may need to fulfill your purses. Purses. Yeah, we're gonna run that bank. Okay, to help you grow and succeed, and to also learn about other people's purpose as well. First and foremost, I want to thank some of our friends, and we're going to do that now. So first and foremost, let's thank our friends here, okay? Reset Business Consulting. If you're a small business owner, if you're a medium-sized business owner, you can feel free to contact Reset Business Consulting. You can visit them on the web at resetbusinessconsulting.com. So you can go ahead and check out their website, okay? As well as shout out to Flowtopia, our friends at Flowtopia. Flowtopia is awesome. I literally just went there today. Okay. So if you see the hair looking a little rough, I just got out of the float session. Let me tell you, floating is one thing that I make sure I try and do at least once a month, because let me tell you, our everyday lives can be a little hectic. You have to take time for you. And sometimes I even forget that. Sometimes I forget to take time for me. So I was so grateful Natasha and I went to go and we floated. Look, you can get even an introductory float for $50 for 60 minutes. I had an amazing float session. They also have an infrared sauna and a salt cave. The salt cave is dope. You get to salt actually, inhaling that and being in that environment actually helps you with your breathing. So anytime, especially in the wintertime when my sinuses are bothering me, I go to Flowtopia. Also, shout out to Play with Rocks Entertainment. Play with Rocks is there for your business needs. If you have an event or if you are an artist, whether art, digital art, or even like violin, so shout out to Classique. If you're an artist, check out Play with Rocks. She can help you with your event and event planning. Also, yeah, there is let me see what we got here. If you're in the New York area, let me see what we got. We got the Love Boat Brunch Ride. That's actually this Sunday. So hold on, let me switch real quick because I don't know if everybody hear me. There's a Love Boat Brunch Ride. You understand? So all owner that need to know, you understand what I talk. They have aki, kalalu, and saltfish, curry chicken, fried chicken and waffle, and mackerel rundown. That's this Sunday, August 15th, from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. So that's at the Brooklyn Army Terminal in Brooklyn. So if you're in New York, you want to go on. Yo, I went to one of these events before. Let me tell you, if you love to dance, if you love West Indian vibes and food, this is where you want to be. Okay? This is where you want to be because the food is amazing. The drinks, how you doing? And then also, oh my God, music is insane. They got 4 floors, open air promenade, larger classic style boat. They have giveaways, rugs on whistle. So let me break it down for you guys. If you haven't been to a Caribbean party, you probably want to use this as your introduction. This is your introduction to a wicked Caribbean party. They got VIP service, okay? You got the Lover merch, you got the Rocks merch, okay? And you got VIP service, you got expedited boarding. Who doesn't want to get on the boat first? You got premium food, bottle service, and you got the musical ambassadors, Dwayne Ecstasy, Dwayne. You have Paul Michael and Delano. Yo, if you're Jamaican, you know there's always a Delano. I'm just saying. He's a wicked DJ, though. I just want to say. There's also free parking, and it's powered by the new Vibe Lounge, which is in Rockville Center. So if you guys don't have anything to do this, I got to start my thing here. If you don't have anything to do this Sunday, go on and get your ticket. So if you want to get your tickets, of course, shout out to Play with Rocks. You can go online and so you see it right there at Play with Rocks. So you can get your tickets. And not last, but let me tell you something about Shrimpies. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Shrimpies Burrito Bar. Literally, there's one right here in Huntington, and they have another place in Massapequa Park. Hold on, let me start this. Shrimpies, so my niece knows if she's here watching, I always go to Shrimpies when I just want to step out real quick. I go to Shrimpies. Okay. Yeah. So I don't even want to put it up on the screen because my mouth water. But yeah, my favorite is the shrimpy. I think it's called the shrimpy taco. Let me see. Which one is it? Which one? But it's shrimp. I don't know what they do with the sauce, but it tastes amazing. Yo, the burritos are like the size of my head. They have great pricing, and I just love the vibes. An artist that's actually been on, well, the podcast formerly known as Waste Off Podcast. Efren was on from Andalus. He was actually on it. He actually did the artwork in the Huntington, I believe also in the Massapequa location. So if you're looking for some food, you're looking for some great Taco Tuesday deals, shout out to Shrimpies. And then of course, you got the merch. You got the Price on Purpose merch. If you want to help support the podcast and help me to continue to grow as a podcaster, please purchase some merchandise. It'll help me to continue doing this awesomeness and also provide me with the tools that I need. I think I was telling my niece how much goes into, in a monetary sense, how much it goes into my podcast. And she's like, what? Yes, girl. Yes, girl. So I just wanted to shout you guys out there. And then don't forget to get the merch. You know fall's coming. Get yourself a hoodie. Let them know you support Price on Purpose. Okay? And greatness happens with divine timing. Am I right? Divine timing. We got the mug right here now. So I want to just shout that out real quick. All right. I'm back. Yeah, I had a great float session. So I've been trying to, just an update about me. I've been trying to step away from work a little bit more because I don't know about you guys. I'm a workaholic. I like to just dive into my work and then nothing else exists. Like literally nothing exists. I'll just be like, oh, all right. You know, work, reading. Like I read, I don't know about you guys. How many books do you guys read at a time? I read sometimes 4 or 5 books at a time. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. I read so many books at a time. And yes, I do. Some people be like, how do you remember everything you read? I just do because so the way I remember things is usually like photographic memory in a sense. So I just this is a towel I was using to dry my hair. My hair was wet when I went into the salt thing. So not the salt thing, the float. Yeah, but yeah, I remember based on just I add pictures in my head. That's how I remember things. So it's associated with a picture that I make up in my head, and then I associate with a feeling, and that's how I remember everything I read, or I try to at least. Excuse me. But that's why I went to float today, because I realized I was feeling a lot of stress, and who wants to feel like that, right? You don't work at your best when you are stressed. Oh, put it on a t-shirt. You don't work at your best when you are feeling stressed. All right, sorry. All right, so yeah, I know I don't work at my best when I'm in a high stress situation. So I said, let's chill. So Natasha and I went, we floated. I saw some interesting things. Let me tell you, I didn't even know I fell asleep. And I was just like, you know how sometimes you fall asleep and your body jerk, you're like, what? You know? So that happened. But I had some interesting visions. So I'm going to look into that at a later date. But I asked a question. I posed a question. So let's get to the main discussion. I was curious about, let's make sure we're still live here. Okay. So also thank you guys for joining on Podbean if you're listening there. I was curious of what do you guys think is the most important thing we need to learn? If you feel like you want to type in the chat, feel free. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. You know, don't be scared. What do you think the most important thing is? Somebody's gonna be like, you need to learn banking. You need to learn these banks. You need to learn about stocks. Get your stocks. You need to learn about Dogecoin. Those are all important things. But I wanted to dive into the self-awareness realm because, of course, this is Price on Purpose. And I realized that the most important thing that we need to learn is self-awareness. self-awareness or being aware of yourself, because that is what's going to help you get to whatever you want in life. Because I realized that if I wasn't aware of myself, or at least working on it, because nobody's perfect. I'm not saying like I capped out, I can't learn anything else. No, that's not what I'm saying. I love learning about who I am because now I get to determine how I can serve others. And that's what I feel it can mean for a lot of us, because some of us cap out our lives. We're just like, yeah, and at the end of the day, if that's what makes you comfortable, cool. But there are these things that we can do to kind of like help ourselves get to the next level. And that's why the most important thing to learn is yourself, because that is literally the catalyst. I hope I'm using that word right. That's the catalyst for everything in life, whether you're going to make enough money, whether you're going to have a family, whether you're going to be happy. Most importantly, I'm actually going to show an article that I came across on this website, because I think that with this article, they made it very clear to me on some talking points to see if you are self-aware and how you can actually work on self-awareness. Because they put a statistic up here, and I would love to dig into this a little deeper because I'm not 100% certain if this is accurate, but could be. So let me put this up on the screen so you guys can see. And I'm going to get into why this is so important. So allegedly, now this is what we're looking at here. The majority of us lack self-awareness in everyday life. Research has shown that 95% of people think they're self-aware. In reality, only 10 to 15% of us really are. To me, that's like, what? But it makes sense, because I'll share something about myself. I remember when everything would upset me. Like if something didn't go my way, or if let's say there was a line at the grocery store. Like I used to be one of those folks, like where I'm just like, oh, really? Every time I come in here, there's a line. Well, yeah, Stacy, that's what happens when you go to the store at 6 p.m. Everybody's leaving work, But I used to be a victim. I used to be this victim of my life, saying like, oh, nothing ever works for me. My life is so difficult. Why am I always stressed? I'm always angry. And that used to be me. I used to be in this constant state of anger. And I would have moments of daylight. And daylight, I'm going to attribute to, I had moments of where I would be happy, whether, as my mom would know, like making her laugh or hanging out with friends or whatever. Those were those moments of daylight that I had. But it wasn't until I went into a deep depression that I was able to go on YouTube. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, make sure you check out my my story, where what actually happened to me was that I used to be in denial about who I was as far as my sexuality. And not only that, I was denying my sexuality, I was denying who I was as a person. And in a sense, if you want to make it biblical, I was denying the purpose that God provided me with. And my mom would always be like, yo, Stace, like you could be a comedian, you could do this, you could do that. And I'm like, I can't be a comedian. I only piggyback above what people say. Like I used to say that. And the thing is, I didn't realize what I was doing at the time. But I remember to the point where somebody would give me a compliment and I would actually block the compliment because compliments made me uncomfortable. Meaning somebody would be like, oh, you have a great style, or, oh, you have a great voice. And I would be like, oh, okay, cool. I would not own it. And I didn't own it because I had to look in. Now, this is self-awareness. The reason why I wasn't owning who I was or how people saw me is because I didn't believe it myself. And that's a tough place to be in when people are trying to speak abundance into you, say like, yo, you're really good at X, Y, and Z. Do you guys find yourself doing that? Like lowering or diminishing a compliment that somebody gives you? Like realistically, you may know it's true, right? Like, hey, you're a really good writer, Or, hey, you're really good at XYZ. But then we actually just like be like, yeah, whatever. I used to do that all the time, but I have to say I'm grateful and praise God that I'm able to now transition into this life of a journey where I'm more appreciative of who I am, and I'm still learning who I am. And that's the beauty about life. It's a journey, you know? The journey is learning who you are. The journey is finding out what makes you happy. The journey is even finding out what doesn't make you happy, because what it is life is showing you something very specific. If you're leaning towards something that makes you happy, there's a reason why it's leaning you there. And even if it leads you towards a moment of being uncomfortable, it's trying to show you who you are. And that's what life is. It's showing you who you truly are. So let's dive into this a little bit. So what's the point, right? What's the point of being self-aware? Like, what's the benefit? Like, why can't I just like be like, okay, it makes me uncomfortable, walk away, right? What's the point? I love this little thing here. Excuse me. I love this little graphic here because it's just straight into the point. So here's what happens when we lack self-awareness. Relationships get real rough, right? Your mood is, we call it sour. You have a sour mood. You're down in the dumps, right? And then success, like, look at this. You're just in deep thought. Like, you're not doing anything. You're just like, all right, well, that's life, you know? Think about it. Let me tell you something about self-awareness before I get to what the benefits are of having self-awareness. Self-awareness not only teaches you about yourself, but it helps to create a sense of understanding, not only in you, but in others. It's going to make sense. Like, hear me out. Some people be like, yo, this guy, he killed so-and-so, he did blah, 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 blah. When you know self, you can empathize now. You could be like, he killed somebody? What was he going through? What was the other person going through? Why did that happen? Like, you're going to be more inquisitive versus judgmental. And that's some of the benefits of self-awareness, because the more you know of self, the more you can understand others. And remember what we discussed on the last couple of shows, understanding does not mean that you agree. Understanding means that you can see why someone made those decisions. It doesn't mean that they're right. It just means like, okay, I could see what led up to that. Okay. So having self-awareness, see here, you're going to have arrows. I'm just kidding. You're going to be able to communicate more effectively. Your mood is going to be better with self-awareness. And also success is going to be this, I'm not saying you're like, but you're going to be more successful because you changed your mindset. You're no longer a victim. You are a victor. Okay. So let's look at some things, right? I want to take you down this site. Shout out to whoever did this blog, myquestionlife.com/lack-self-awareness. I always give credit. Okay. Always give credit. So the ways that you know you lack self-awareness, right? Now, when I say lack here, I understand that word is a little, the way I would like to say it, because I'm a more optimistic person, the way you can see if self-awareness is something you need to work on, first of all, it's everyone. Everyone can benefit from working on themselves. Your emotional reaction doesn't match the situation. So for example, if your emotional reaction doesn't match the situation, you're more than likely lacking self-awareness. Your extreme emotions were triggered by something much more deeply rooted than the present events. That's why it's so important to look at self. So for example, let me see if I could think of a scenario. Okay. So when I used to drink, like, alcohol, and I still do, but I have, I'm working on the relationship between me and alcohol, but sometimes I would drink really heavily and I would black out, and there was a lack of control in that area. The more I went through to therapy and the more I understood who I was, I realized that the reason why I was drinking so much is because I was masking something I was going through, which was not admitting to myself about my sexuality. And that was me masking that version of me. So once you start to understand that, it's like, okay, I need to work on loving myself. I need to work on having a better relationship with myself so that I don't feel ashamed for being who I am. Extreme emotions. So, for example, let's think of something that I used to have extreme emotions about. Oh my God. I used to get so mad. My mom would be like, yep. I'll never forget my mom, when I was a kid, my mom would always buy, like, she'd be like, all right, it's time to upgrade the dresser. I'm like, leave me alone. Don't change anything in my room. Like, ah. And she'd be like, it's just a dresser. Like, what's your problem? You know what I mean? But I had to dig into that. What was it? It's because I needed to have a sense of belonging. I didn't feel like I belonged. And I realized that that sense of belonging wasn't to come from my mom in that sense, although part of it, yes, but my sense of belonging wasn't coming from me and self-acceptance. So I had to dig into that, like, I'm territorial, everything is to stay the same. Because did you know it's human nature to want to control everything? It's human nature. So you just have to understand the balance with that, right? So I used to have these crazy emotions. My mom, I would scream, I would cry, I'd be like, yeah, like crazy. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, you get defensive when receiving feedback, right? Oh man, we going into Brene Brown territory. If you know Brene Brown, or if you don't know Brene Brown, you need to look up Brene Brown. Brene Brown has a fantastic speech on vulnerability on YouTube. So when you guys have a moment, go on YouTube, type in Brene Brown, and look at that video. I believe it has 15 million views, if I'm remembering correctly. Every once in a while, I actually pull up that video just to get like a mental refresh. What is defensive? Somebody says, you know what? I like your logo. Could be a little bit better. What do you mean by better? It looks too dark. You know what I mean? Somebody that's defensive would be like, well, it's my logo. I don't know what you mean. This logo is perfect. And hear the person out. Hear the person out. Be inquisitive, right? Be inquisitive. So vulnerability. Let me tell you, a lot of us don't realize that being vulnerable is a superpower. We are emotional creatures. It's very important to feel. It's very important. Feeling helps you connect with other humans. If you don't want to connect, that's something you got to ask yourself why you don't want to connect. For example, I used to not want to connect because, see, everything was stemming from my lack of worth, lack of love for myself. So I had moments where I was very, very surface, like high and by, not sharing any information about myself, just sticking to like things, right? Like, I like TV, you like TV. Like, what show are you watching? But there was no real human connection, which is through emotion. Like, I feel good when, or this upsets me because, like, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't connecting to humans because I was afraid of getting hurt. That's something that happens to a lot of people, especially in intimate relationships. They get very, very, very closed off by relationships not working. That happened to me at one point. Like, I was just like, actually, the funny thing is, I think for me, in my relationships, and speaking as far as intimate relationships with a partner, I think for me, it worked a little opposite. It worked a little opposite. I eventually became more vulnerable through my relationships because I realized that that is the true connection, and you move further when people understand why you think the way you do. That's what I realized. Because if I just say, like, you know, don't park your car next to my car, it's like, okay, don't, okay, I won't. But why? If somebody says don't park your car next to my car, is because I need space to get my guitar out when I get home. Oh, you see, now it makes sense because you provided the why. It makes sense. Or it bothers me if you park your car next to mine because I can't get my guitar out. That makes sense. Okay, got it. You need to get your. So now, what happens in the brain is every time you park, you can be like, Joe needs to get his guitar out. Now you're gonna get the guitar out. Oh my God, passive aggressive behavior. I don't know if you guys have ever been around passive aggressive behavior. First of all, I want to tell you guys a little joke. So, passive aggressive behavior. How much time we got? We got 10 minutes. Okay. I'm going to kind of breeze through these, but I just want to say I had no idea what passive aggressive behavior was until I worked at my last job. For those of you that like worked with me, you're going to know. You're going to be like, yup. Here's the thing. I received on the opposite end of passive aggressive behavior, like people being that way to me, but I didn't know that's what it was. I just thought, I'm like, doesn't everybody say what they mean? No, a lot of people don't say what they mean. But you know what the funny thing is? It says, or trying to control others. A lot of people want to control other people. A lot of people want to control situations because it's human nature. That's the funny thing. It's human nature to want to control things. So when we feel out of control, we're just like, you know what I mean? So I found that very interesting. But let me tell you, if I share anything with you guys, vulnerability is awesome. And let me tell you something about else. I'm actually reading Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. So I'm reading one of her books. I'm literally going to like jump on that book after this talk, after I upload this podcast. But Brene Brown mentioned something I've seen for so long, but I just couldn't put it in the way she did because she's Brene Brown. But she said pretty much, I'm going to paraphrase and it doesn't do it justice, but she said here in the United States, and I'm pretty sure in some other places, but she could only speak for here because that's where she lives. She said there's a huge issue with accountability, lack of accountability, and lack of ownership. And that is very important to look into. So think about that for a second. Accountability and ownership, meaning somebody's not going to just jump up and be like, oh, it was my mistake. You know what? I did it. You know what? It was me. There's strength in that because let me tell you, when somebody says that they made a mistake, for me, I'm going to tell you for me, because some people are afraid to admit if they made a mistake. They're afraid because they're like, oh, now this person's going to be like, you're a horrible person. For me, it's important, or it makes me know that you're being from the heart if you say you made an error. And same for me. Like if I say I made an error, it's not there for you to be like, you suck. It's there for you to understand like, look, I'm human. I made a mistake. I learned from this moment. Let's move ahead. You repeat negative emotional patterns. Ooh, I know that's something I gotta work on. I don't even want to say negative. I would say things that don't help you get to your goal, like procrastination. Even though procrastination actually could be a benefit. Yeah, emotions are tough to control. Another one, the things you do to make yourself feel better don't actually make you feel better. Look at that. Alcohol, gaming, computer. Your expectation is you want to be happy, but you're actually sad. I used to be there. I used to come home from work. I used to work at, almost at the business name. I used to work at a major cable provider here on Long Island. And my cycle was I worked 5 p.m. to 1:30 in the morning. I would come home. And I don't know if you gamer guys remember PlayStation Home where you can go and like meet people and everything. I used to come home and just play the video game until 7 a.m. And then I would sleep all day. And then 4 o'clock came around. I get ready for it, go to work. And then that cycle just kept on going. And eventually I was just like, this sucks. But I didn't know what to do to change it. So I would just keep doing it and keep playing the video games and everything. And it didn't help me at all. And that's the thing. Whatever you try to numb your emotions with, whether work, alcohol, TV, etc., it merely takes you away from the main problem you have to deal with. Ultimately, it adds to your lack of self-awareness. You know what I mean? Like for me, diving in my work all the time, it's like, yo, what do you really need to deal with? What do you really need to deal with? You got to get better at that. And you haven't found a way to be consistently successful. So I know even for me, it's like I go through, this is how it goes for me. You know what I mean? And this is the thing. We're human, right? This is not to be like, you lack self-awareness. This is to be like, guess what? We get to work on self-awareness. But yeah, success is something we all deserve, and it's our birthright in a sense. But wow, success is self-defined. So you can look at Joe Schmo and be like, Joe Schmo drives a Maserati, Joe Schmo has a mansion, Joe Schmo has a horse, Joe Schmo has this. But is that your version of success? Your version of success could be like, I got out of bed today. I didn't think about myself in a negative light. I ate today, because especially coming out of depression, which I know a lot about, sometimes it's hard to get out of bed. Sometimes it's hard to even make any moves because you're stuck in that analysis paralysis state, and you're just like, I feel like a piece of what. But the more aware you get, the more you can realize what your triggers are. Let me tell you something about regret real quick. It's 5:26. It's not healthy to live life in regret. I want to mention that to you. It's not healthy. If I give you anything, it is not healthy to live life in regret, because regret to me is like saying that you need to make every decision right every time. And the issue with that is you're going to start to go against your ability to make decisions, and you're not going to trust yourself, which is worse than not trusting someone, because if you don't trust your own judgment, that means you're going to go with what everybody else says. Sometimes you got to really get into your heart and understand what's really going on. So if you start to regret things, that's saying that you can't make good decisions. And if you can't make good decisions, then you're like, I don't trust myself. And then you're like in this weird, vicious cycle. If anything, there's going to be things in life that are not going to work in your favor. But there's always a lesson. There's always a lesson. That's the thing. I'm lesson oriented. It's better to say, you know what? That didn't work the way I thought it did, but I'm going to try again. Shout out to Annie Duke, Thinking in Bets. That book really actually helps me now. See, that's the thing about reading. Did you know there's a direct correlation between reading, education, and behavior? Direct correlation. So the more you read, you can change your behavior. You could help your behavior help you. Why not? So if I give you anything today, it's 5:28. We're looking to wind down. The conclusion is the most important thing that you need to do, or the most important thing to learn, is you. Most important. Excuse me. We can learn how to run, be a better runner. We can learn how to be a better worker in our chosen area of expertise. We can learn how to be a better mother, a better father. We can learn how to be a better family member, a better friend, or whatever. But the most important thing still is knowledge of self, because the knowledge of self is what's going to help you with all of those things. Like, for me, I'm learning to be a better human. And in order to be a better human, I'm trying to teach myself better habits. But in order to have better habits, I need to understand my why. And then I need to understand why that's important so that I can learn of how I can serve you guys. So that's what I'm learning. I'm learning to be a better self, because my whole purpose here is to help you guys from going through what I went through, where I went through self-doubt, detrimental thoughts, suicidal thoughts, depression, lack of belief in myself. I wouldn't want you or someone to go through that if you don't have to. So that's what this whole video or anything I do with Pryce on Purpose is about, because there is light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. Like, your life has a purpose to it. There's a reason why you're here, but nobody can really tell you. Like, people can give you ideas, but you have to find that in yourself, because that's the beauty of life. You get to realize why you're here, and you get to fine tune it any way you want, so that when that day comes, not to be like morbid, but when that day comes and you leave this planet, you could be like, hey, somebody's going to look back at these videos and be like, holy crap, she went through what I went through, you know? There's something else I can do. There's something else besides these drunken nights or, numbing yourself with drugs or something like that. Like at the end of the day, we're all going to go through what we go through, but are you going to grow through it? You know what I mean? One of the number one things I love to also take advantage of and to help people understand is that you're not a victim. I don't care who you are. You're not a victim in a sense where it comes to life and being the change you want to see. You're not a victim. You can start your life today, like literally leaving the past behind and learning from it, but being a teacher. You know what I mean? So many of us, including myself, have been in places where it's like, oh, why would they listen to me? Why would they listen to me? Because I don't have a degree and I don't have this and I don't have that. But what do you have? You have experience. Experience is one of the number one things. You cannot teach experience. You have to be in it. You have to be in it for years. You know what I mean? Think about like Tiffany Mosher that I had on, or Sean Dustin. Experience, because now they can tell you like, I know what it's like to go through alcoholism, or I know what it's like to be suicidal, or I know that's what's really going to be the true teacher. So guys, please click like and click share on this video. Like I said, I just want to help you guys to be better yous. I want you guys to be better yous. Of course, you can always support the podcast. Once again, go to the site at the bottom to go and support the show. Once again, it helps me to be a better podcaster and to get different equipment and stuff to continue podcasting. I got great ideas for this show, and I just want to get to the next level, and your help would be greatly appreciated. So my exchange is, y'all get merch. Get that merch. Get your Pryce on Purpose mug. Everything happens with divine timing. Okay? Sometimes you be like, did that just happen? Yes, it did. Is that coincidence? No. Some things are coincidences, like Joe walked in, I walked in. Yeah, okay. But I mean divine timing. So those of you know, you know. I want to thank you so much for being supportive and listening. If you guys have topics that you want to discuss, you want me to pick apart, because I like to do that. I like to do research. I got my little notes here, shout me out. You can email, I believe it's pryceonpurpose@gmail.com if you would like to speak about a certain topic, or even you want to be on the podcast, okay? Or if you want me to discuss it, like, yo, why is it that? Feel free to write me. Feel free to write me. I'm curious of what you guys think. So please submit your ideas and thoughts. Don't forget to follow Pryce on Purpose on social media. Once again, my name is Stacey Pryce. This is Pryce on Purpose. Every Wednesday at 4:55 p.m. Probably going to change it to 5 o'clock, but to work with Podbean. But every Wednesday, 4:55 p.m. I'm here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And go learn about yourselves. You're great people. There's beauty inside of you. Go find it. Go be yourself. Go play. I'll talk to you guys later.